Hello y'all, it's Carrie of Carrie Sutras. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about tips that are going to help you combat jealousy and really bring it a little bit front and center for ourselves. Why do we go through it and what we can do to combat it so that we can have healthier and stronger relationships. If you like my videos, please click the bell, like and subscribe to my videos. I really enjoy that we can connect in this way and we do the vibing, and it allows those YouTube things to do their algorithms and send it out there, because I believe this is a message that we all need to have. So talking about jealousy and what jealousy brings into our lives, I'll tell you a little bit about what jealousy is first of all. It seems to have been a biological response that we've all had, and it really is rooted back into, our evolutionary process back in the day. We would get jealous because it would be imperative to make sure that our lineages, our lines were really tied into our basic survival. It was important that people stay faithful to some degree, because it meant that if you were a man, you would have to look after offspring that may not have been yours, and that might not have been all that fun. And it was just, as a woman, it was important to hold on to your partner to make sure that they would still stay around and be able to provide for whatever offspring we would have. That was built in genetically as a survival mechanism as we move through the ages. The thing is, as we have evolved and things are changing. I mean, women now don't necessarily need men in the same way. We're able to provide financially for ourselves, and we've equaled the playing field in that way, as well as that there's a level of emotional intelligence that I think has been offered into the relationship space, where it's not necessarily all about what we give and take anymore. I mean, on like a material level, we used to be very caught up in having to provide shelter and food. What's happening is that we are now looking more to our mates, our partners, for attraction and attachment, loving feelings now. I think that there's a lot that can be said to that. We are moving into a time where not only do we expect our partners to be able to contribute to our living experience, our living arrangements, but we're actually wanting to heal old wounds that we might have all had, and we look to our partners to be able to fill those spaces. So with all of that in mind, let's talk about what we can do to rid ourselves, or as much as we can, that green-eyed monster we call jealousy, and how we can nurture our relationships to make sure that we can move through those experiences quickly. Tip number one. Tip number one is simple. Prevention is half the cause. Try nurturing your relationship. What I mean by that is really pay attention to the amount of time and energy that you put into being in the space of your relationship with your partner. That becomes so important, because if you are kind of distracted sometimes, and it happens because our lives are busy, a lot of the time that your partner may not feel their needs are being met, or you may not be able to get your needs met, and that may be able to spark interest in other places. If you put that attention on each other, focusing in on checking in so that you know what your partner's needs are and they know what your needs are, that really goes a long way to keeping what we call a couple bubble secure. Ask your partner directly, what are they feeling in, the way that they are? Are they feeling that you are meeting their needs? Are you feeling that they're meeting your needs? That simple question can go a long way to feeling into where you guys are sitting in the relationship, and offering spaces to start to talk, so that if you're talking, other people can't come in between it. Tip number two. If you're feeling jealous, it might be a really good time to just breathe for a second and do an evaluation of what is triggering that sense of jealousy. Now, are you feeling like there's a real need, like you're noticing that your partner was talking repeatedly to somebody and paying more attention to somebody or an activity that's been outside of you? And if that's the case, you got to make a decision as to whether or not you want to bring this front and center. If you do choose that you're going to bring it forward, make sure you've thought about it and that you're not acting from those extreme emotions that just being jealous will bring up. It's a really tough thing to back down and to walk back the emotions, because jealousy naturally brings up more than one thing. Rage is one, anger is another. It brings up feelings of confusion, it's sadness. There's a lot going on when you're going through the experience of feeling jealous. So if you can act not when you're feeling it immediately, but maybe after it's subsided a little, you've taken some time to write down what exactly you're feeling, that helps so that you're not coming off as crazy and deranged. It makes it too easy to dismiss what you're feeling when you come at your partner from just the raw emotion. It's really important to step back so that you can come from a place of calm so that they'll be able to listen to what's going on. That brings me to tip number 3. Check your emotions. If you have suspicions, if you're feeling possessive, breathe. I say it again, breathe. Remember, jealousy is one of those very basic primal things that we have experienced that was about life and death when it was evolving in us. So it's really emotion packed. Breathe. Take stock before you bring it to your partner. Give yourself a minute or two to just consider what this is going and bringing for you. Is it really about something your partner did? Or is it an experience that you might be feeling? Just taking a second to evaluate will go a long way in being able to create a truth for the two of you. If you choose to confront your partner or to bring it into the space of your relationship, really choose your words carefully. Recognizing, once again, I bring it back here because this is such an important thing, that being jealous is a complex series of emotions. It's not just one thing or another. It's really important that you approach it from a non-belligerent, non-attacking way, because it is an important space to create a new way of being for you and your partner, or there's a potential for you to be able to look at the relationship differently. Normally, when we are feeling jealous, it's an indicator that 1, something may be going on in the relationship, and 2, that something is definitely going on with yourself. Take a moment to be willing to hear and be open to talking and really feeling through, bringing it to the level of your feelings, but going through the different layers of those feelings. There is a lot going on in jealousy. Rage and anger normally show up first. They're easier emotions for us to access. But if you take the time to go deeper in, you'll feel in and notice that there might be a sense of fear because you're afraid your partner is going to leave, or abandonment because maybe you've been through it a couple of times, and then the sadness that comes from feeling abandoned. These are all really relevant emotions, and if we can go to those levels of feeling, it helps so much when we do that versus just coming at our partners with anger. Tip number 4, it's really important to verbalize clearly. What I mean by that is talk about your feelings. So if there was a particular situation that triggered your jealousy, like you were at a party with your partner, okay, that's not happening in our times of COVID, but I like to stay in those positive modes. Say you guys were at a party, let's say, and you found that your partner was paying a lot of attention to one particular person, and it really irked you. Maybe approach your partner in conversation with something like this. I noticed that you were spending a lot of time talking and laughing with X. It made me feel really sad because I had wanted us to have this moment together to just be and have fun. And when you were putting all your attention on this other person, it made me feel really alone, even though we were surrounded by a lot of different people. It made me feel like that person was much more attractive or better than me. And I know that that's not what you really wanted to do, but I have to let you know how I'm feeling so that maybe we can work this out together. What happens when we approach it in that way is that you're not putting all of that pressure on them that they didn't feel that way. What you or they created a space, you're actually letting them know that it was a feeling. You're talking about how it felt. So it lessens this attack phase on the experience. I know it can be tough, so I say it again. Take the pressure off of even yourself. Do some work. Don't do it in the moment. Give it a day or two to process how it's making you feel if your partner's got attentions looking elsewhere. That way you can come at it in a way that maybe will start dialogue between you, that you can get to the real root, because it's not the action that's keeping you guys together or keeping you angry. It's actually how it's making you feel that is really showing up. Take the time to process how it makes you feel past that stage of anger. That's only the beginning of what you're really feeling. Now, this one is tip number 5 and can be a real challenge. Listen. Take time to just listen. We as a society have got to spend some more time, I'm an advocate for this, to hone our listening skills. Your partner may not have been in awareness that you are feeling this way and may have some things to express to you if you are the person that has this jealousy space has been directed to, and or you are verbalizing your space of being jealous. No matter how absurd and crazy it may seem, be willing to just listen. Because when we listen to how our partners are feeling, it actually gives a lot of space for us to be able to hold our partners, to validate them. There's such power in just being heard. We all want to be made to know that we are feeling valid, that our emotions and that we are worthy of the attention of our partners. So just sometimes saying nothing, even if you think they're acting crazy, will go such a long way to breaking down a problem and not creating a bigger one that escalates. Listen. Take the time to just hear your partner and offer them sympathy and love. This one is a fun one. Jealousy. It shows up in so much of who we are. It's primal. It goes a long way back. But what is so amazing is that now we can actually come from a space of awareness instead of just acting when we are feeling this realm of jealousy. Jealousy is such a great indicator of your actual space and time. What is really going on inside of you? It's a great time to take stock of how we are feeling about ourselves and doing that inner work to go through the layers of our emotions. What are we willing to move through and heal so that we can show up in a better way for our partners and get rid of this old time biological thing that doesn't serve us necessarily anymore in the spaces of our relationship. I really hope that this has been amazing for you, that I've offered you some sort of insights into it. And I also want to just let you know that it's so okay if you're going through it. We all have moments of it. It is a natural thing. The key is figuring out how you want to deal so that it's not going to become a pain in your ass. Till next time, see you later.